If you're a fan of RC racing, this video is for you because we have the new team-associated B74.1 four-wheel drive competition buggy. This is one seriously high-performance, purebred race car that comes as a kit, requiring assembly and requires all the components to be added separately, but we have everything. So today, we're gonna check out this buggy, talk about the build, take a look at the parts to finish the car, then we're gonna finish it. We recently wrapped up our build series on this B6.2 buggy, and if you haven't seen that series, spoiler alert, it's a phenomenal carpet car, but it's no four-wheel drive buggy. So since we've never done a build on a four-wheel drive buggy and the B74.1 just came out, we thought this would be a perfect time to take one, slowly upgrade it or modify it however needed to make it the best carpet car for our local Silver Dollar RC Raceway carpet track. Now the B74.1 is really competitive out of the box. It includes some really nice stuff, but there's always gonna be little tinkering and setup and different changes you can do to a competition car to tailor it to your particular track, traction levels, and surface type. So we may achieve this in only one video, or it could take a few. It just depends. And as a side note, if you're wondering, that we're not gonna do any budget like we did with the 6.2. So to begin this build, we unboxed the buggy, checked out the parts bags, noticed there was a body and wing included, but no tires. Then we started the build. The goal is to make a roller to present to you guys, and it took a solid 8 to 10 hours to complete. If this buggy was the B74.1D dirt car version, the build would probably take about the same time as well. The big difference between the dirt car and our carpet car is going to be the center differential found in the dirt car, and the carpet car uses the new Octa-Lock slipper. There are other differences, of course, like the setup, the shock fluid, the pistons, the springs, sway bars, etc. But both cars will feature the same updates, which are shorter shocks, shorter towers, updated suspension blocks, reworked steering, and more, basically to lower the CG of the car and make it better suited for high traction applications. For the setup, the B74.1 does include a carpet setup sheet, which is what we followed to a T. Now overall, the build went really well in the B74.1. The manual is easy to follow. The parts went together really well. The manual shows you building the car in the same setup as the carpet setup sheet, which is really nice. There was a couple of issues with the buggy during the build where some personal love was required. Now the first issue that needed a little personal love were the shims here in the front arms. There was just a little bit of binding. It probably would have worked itself out as the car broke in, but I still just sanded down these 1mm plastic shims in here, and that freed it up right away. The second was with the rear arms. There's 2mm plastic spacers that are included here. Once you assemble all this, the rear arms are really locked up. So we instead took out those plastic washers, picked up these team-associated aluminum washers that are 2 mils, just to have a little bit more precise size on those washers. And then we put those in there and sanded the backside of the suspension arms a little bit, and that made it perfect. Now, if you're watching this video in the future, it's a year from now or something, that chunky washer size has probably already been corrected. We have one of the very first kits that was produced, so things happen. So that is everything that's happened to this buggy up until this point. Chad here at AMain painted the body for us. Thank you, Chad. Now we just need to install our electronics. So let's run through them. For our ESC, we have a Reedy Black Box 510R. This is a competition grade 2S LiPo ready ESC, brushless, censored, all of that. Delivers up to 150 amps and it has a BEC that can do HV 7.4 volts, which is pretty nice. And then for our motor, it's a Reedy Sonic 540 M4, is that what they call it? Yeah, the M4. It's a Sonic 6.5 turn modified motor. That's really fast. That's really fast. Then for the servo, it is a Reedy. It's an RT1508 servo. It delivers at HV specs at least, 0.08 transit speed with 15.3 kilograms a centimeter of torque. Then for the battery, it's a Reedy Zapper SG3. This guy is a 2S. It's 6,100 milliamp hour. It's an 85C pack, and it is LIHV. Of course, it's a shorty, so it's gonna work perfect in this buggy. Also, we have a brand new fan mount with this new car. So we have a Reedy fan here. It's a 30 by 30 by 10 millimeter fan that we can use to cool our motor or our ESC. So I have a second fan here. This is the ProTek fan. So one of these fans may go on the ESC and then the other will be in the chassis to cool the motor. Not exactly sure yet, but there's both fans here as options. And then the last bit of gear that we need here is some radio gear. So we picked up a brand new Rud Dog receiver that is compatible with Sanwa systems. So let's see, these guys are super small. This is what we used in our B6.2 build. And then I'm gonna bind that guy up to my M11X. So that should get us all rolling, except there's a couple items we're gonna need, like tires. I'll probably add a chassis protector. I need a pinion gear. Yeah, let's dive into it. Let's do it. All right, status update here. We have the ESC in. It's installed on the tray with some sticky tape. The power capacitor pack is right next to it there inboard. And then we also have our servo installed. And then here is our Rud Dog receiver right there. We were able to just fasten it right onto the end of the aluminum chassis before the plastic side guard. So I think that's gonna be all right. Here's the picture that I'm trying to model. I found this online. It may be difficult to see, but his battery wires kind of wrap around the center differential he's got there instead of kind of going over. There's not a whole lot of different ways that you can wire up your electronics, but having your wires going up and over, it's tough to pull off looking clean. So this is what I'm gonna try to model after. So let's crack this motor open really quick. Pretty nice, M4. I had an M3 17.5 turn for a little while. It was a really fast motor, so cool. Let's get this in. There's also a 20-tooth pinion gear. It's a team associated aluminum. The manual doesn't give you any recommended pinion gears to put with different turn motors, but there are 2 setup sheets on the team associated website right now. And in those setup sheets, both team drivers were using 6.5 turn motors, this exact motor, and with it, they had a 20-tooth pinion. All right, guys, we're back and the wiring is all complete on our B74.1. As you can see, we put some shrink tubing here on our motor wires, shorten those up, put some more shrink tubing and a little bit of tape down here at the bottom to secure our fan wire and the sensor wire. And then in here in the center slipper area, there's a little bit of space. There's quite a bit of space at the bottom below the slipper here. So we were able to put some shrink tubing on the receiver wires. The receiver wire coming from the ESC and that fan wire. We were able to put some heat shrink tubing on them and then some tape, and we smushed them down to the bottom of the chassis. So everything looks pretty nice. It looks really clean. It looks way better than I would be able to do myself. Chad did it. Chad Bradley, who painted this body, he made this look really nice and pretty for us. So we have a few more items. We're not gonna put them on right now, but I'll show you guys what we have for our buggy. We still need to put these Velcro pieces on the body to secure it to the chassis. We bought a transponder. We need to put that in. We also have this chassis protective sheet. It's for the B74.1, I believe. Oh, it's the B74 chassis. Same chassis, but there are different screw locations. But as far as this chassis protector goes, it will go right on there. And then lastly, we got tires. And we have Schumacher tires. They hook up really good at our carpet tracks. So we have Cactus for the rears. Let's throw them on there, huh? Oh, smells like traction. That smell, yep, they smell like traction. That is fresh. So these are the wide Stagger ribs in the front. They're yellow, these are yellow. They're all yellow compound. Okay, look at that. Those tires look great. But the setup on this buggy isn't done. The ride height, the camber, things like that. They need to be dialed in before we put this car down and drive it. But as far as it is at this point, this is pretty dang phenomenal to have ourselves a wired up car. But look at that. That looks brilliant. I can't wait to get out on the track, break this thing in. We gotta break in the slipper, make some adjustments, set up and tune the steering rack. It's really important to get that dialed in, and then we can seriously put down some laps. Thanks for watching this video. Stay tuned for the next of the B74.1 series, where we'll finally put it out on the track and do some driving. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was super long to make. If you want to check out this buggy or any of the other parts we put in it and talked about, we'll have links down below. And if you like this video, give it a like and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next video on this B74.1. I'm Brett from AMain Hobbies. Thanks for watching.